know, Shannon, modern technology has turned the traditional rules of etiquette upside down. Do you post pictures of a private event? I don't know. Is it okay to text during dinner? I don't know. Well, if you're like me and you don't know, the next guest, well, she has the answers.
Here with the do's and don'ts of social media etiquette is expert of social media herself and author Harriet Cole. Thank you for joining us.
I'm happy to be with you.
Harriet
It's
Cole,
great.
We have so many questions to ask you.
Okay, I'm ready.
And let's start off with, we're talking about texting and social media at dinner. Who hasn't been at dinner when everyone's sitting around you? They're all texting. People are not even talking to each other.
Yeah.
What is the social etiquette do's and don'ts of this situation?
You know, when you're with someone, be with someone, and not the someone who's on the other line who's not at the table with you. But it's really hard. The lure of that little instrument, you know, somebody's calling me, somebody wants to talk to me, somebody's sending me a message, but there's somebody in front of you. So when you are at a meal, don't put the phone on the table. I know it's hard.
A lot of people usually leave the phone right
especially
next
at
to the
lunch.
dinner
They
plate.
do. Yeah. If you must have it on, I have a daughter, so I want to be on the alert in case there's an issue. I put it in my lap or by my side on vibrate, and if I need to pick it up, I will say to my dining mates, I'm so sorry, excuse me for a moment, I need to take this. And then if it is at all possible, get up and leave the table.
So you don't take the call at the table.
Don't whisper off to the side like
Try
that.
to excuse yourself.
You might have to answer it because it rings but for so long. But you know, you immediately say, pardon me, I need to take this call. If you can get up, you get up. Now, if you were in, you know, those banquettes and you're in the middle, it happens,
and you're trapped.
and you can't get out,
then
you pardon yourself, and it has to be the briefest, quietest conversation. But you know, I've been with very important people, who have sat there like, yeah, and so it's a distracted conversation.
Isn't that the height of rudeness too? I mean,
it is the height of rudeness, but people don't realize
They don't realize that?
because it's almost like that virtual person who's on the text or on the phone is part of the experience. So what we need to do is remember they're only part of the experience because you welcome them in.
That's true.
Especially with Instagram and tweeting, you got to tell everybody what you're doing every minute of the day.
And then you wonder why they're stalking you.
Right.
Duh.
Well, Harriet, you know, I confessed my social media sin to you in the makeup room. One of the things I'm guilty of is actually staying on the phone when I'm at the checkout counter.
Which is the worst, and I think we've all done it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is it?
For the person who's at the checkout counter, it's 10. Because think about it.
So
this
it's really
this
egregious.
person's job.
Right.
And let's say it's a transaction, a financial transaction. How many of us have done this? There's a financial transaction, you give a credit card or even cash, you're not counting, you're not paying attention. That's that person's job. Can't you honor that moment? I mean, we've all done it.
But
here's
you just
the thing.
think they just need your cash. You just give them the credit card and swipe
But
it.
how many times then do you not get the right change? Is the transaction not completed properly? And also, it's human being to human being. So why not have that personal interaction for 30 seconds? Honestly, what happens is you slow down the transaction when you're on the phone.
Point.
So what about
and people go, oh, wait a minute. I'm just finishing talking to so-and-so.
Okay, so what about when you don't need to have interaction with someone like an elevator or on the train or bus? Do you have to get off the phone? Then you're in your private conversation.
Okay, but there's the thing. A private conversation in an enclosed public setting. Therein lies the problem. You know, also like the nail salon.
Right.
That's another place where it's like, oh, you are loud. I want to be zen.
So
You need to have what we tell children, your inside voice.
Your inside
On an
voice.
elevator, there should be no voice. You should turn the phone off
Always.
in the elevator.
Even if you're whispering.
Okay, think about it. It's like whispering in the bathroom with someone in there with you. How big is an elevator?
But good cell phone service is hard to find when you're on the elevator, Harriet.
But we should not be looking for cell phone service on the elevator or, by the way, in the bathroom. Let's bring that one up too.
Well,
how many people?
That's the only time I have quiet time sometimes,
and
Harriet.
it should be quiet. But I'm saying it not to make it as a joke.
Yeah.
Seriously, a lot of people do not understand where the boundaries lie. So the phone goes with them everywhere. everywhere. People have dropped the phone in the tub and wonder why. Because you had it with you when you were in the tub.
That's very true.
Okay,
That is
very
very true.
true.
Well, another phone don't you say is walking into the house while you're chatting with your friend or your coworkers.
Okay, so
when
this
you
is
get to the
mine.
door and
Okay.
you get home, hang up. Now you're
George.
guilty of this.
Okay,
Harriet.
so this became an
I'm not the
issue-
only guilty
No, no,
one
no,
you're
here.
right.
We're all guilty. So this became an issue in my family.
Okay.
So I'm thinking I'm efficient. You know, I live in Manhattan, usually travel above ground so I can have meetings from the moment I go from point A to point Z, and Z being home.
Right.
So I'm completing a meeting. I unlock the door to my apartment. Often, I have not completed it before I get inside. And I would meet a little bit of attitude when I'm like, wait a minute. And at a certain point, like the family meeting, my husband said, you know, there's something you need to know.
Oh.
I would appreciate it if you would not walk in the door on the phone. And I really thought that I was being efficient and honoring my family. And he let me know it would be honoring your family if you end the call before you cross the threshold.
Wow.
It's not being conscious of what our actions mean to somebody else. And I can't say that I always honor it now because it's one of those things that's really tough, but I know it's not a good thing to do. It doesn't make my husband happy, doesn't make my kid happy. So for other people, I would say, if you think about the people in your life who you care about, and also even the strangers in public places who you want to be kind to you, imagine for one moment, how would you feel if you were in their position? You don't like hearing the music.
Right.
You know, when people are listening to music on the subway and you can hear it,
Jamming.
like, oh my God, I just want to strangle you. Okay, imagine your just straight up voice talking.
Especially some voices. They are far more irritating than others.
But if you have a nice voice, is it better?
You
I
have
don't
a
think
lovely,
so.
pleasant voice.
I don't
It's
think
bearable,
so.
but you know that high-pitched squeal. It's just, nails on a chalkboard. Okay,
Okay,
moving
we have
along.
another one, yes.
Okay.
What about people who are posting things on social media? You know, they're tagging, they're tweeting, they're Facebooking. You know, what are the do's and don'ts of posting?
Well, this is a great one. I get on my Facebook page, like, there's a picture of you tagged somewhere, and I look and I'm not in the picture. And people do this often because if you have a big following and they want to get a bump in their, you know, they want to get some PR, that if they post to your page because you have more, your friends are going to see it. I find that annoying.
Yes.
Don't post, but actually, some
Using
people
you.
don't even want their pictures tagged, even if they are in it, because not everybody wants to be public.
Well, that leads me to my next question. Say you're invited to someone's home for a private event or soiree. Now, what I do customarily is if I'm taking photos, I ask the hostess, may I tweet these or may I share these on Facebook? Is that the...
That's very good, Lola, and rare.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, it's rare for people to ask.
Okay, so is the assumption that once you open your door, all bets are off?
I don't think that there are any conscious assumptions at all. I think
Okay.
people just, it's a free-for-all. Oh, I've got my phone, I've got my iPad. Especially if there's anybody there of note, then people are going to take pictures and post them maybe in the moment. Instagram.
Exactly.
You know, Twitter.
Twitter,
Guess
yeah.
who's here?
Tumblr, all
Yeah.
these sites.
So if celebrities are there, celebrities are fair play, even though the host may not want you to do it. The host, here's, to answer your question. In today's world, it would be good for the host to say, this is a private event, please let's keep it private and not include social media, if that's desired. If it is okay, the host should ask the guests, are you cool with this? But another thing, and we were talking about this earlier, is family.
Yes.
And sometimes you like to be part of social media, but not everybody in your family or your friend group likes it too.
That's a very good point.
I made that mistake of posting pictures of family, you know, family fun,
Right.
and I got pulled up. Like, you didn't ask me if you could post that picture on your Facebook page, so please take it off and don't put me on without my permission. I was very
Right.
surprised. But what it tells us is not everybody has the same expectations. Not everyone is okay with being as public as others, and we need to ask. If you ask, then that's good manners, it's kind. If folks say no, don't do it.
The irony is that technology has brought us closer together in terms of us being able to talk at any time, communicate more quickly and effectively, but it's also sometimes made us less civil, Harriet.
Well, I think two things. I would say that has brought us closer together. I was just speaking to a woman who's dating, who says, no, I don't want my dating experience to be via text. And a lot of people who are single are finding that, male and female, that people don't want to talk on the phone or physically meet. It can be a text relationship, but who really wants that? That feels a little robotic.
Yes, it does.
And also, if you
It's
ever
so
have an
impersonal.
argument, the argument can inflame because the tone is not there, right? So there's that. And in terms of civility, especially if your username is something that's not your name, so you think you're anonymous,
Right.
people go off on each other in
Wow.
1 second because they can. You know, I can call you out and talk about you anyway I want to because you don't know who I am.
Well, let's talk
Wow.
about traditional media.
Okay.
Let's
Yes.
talk about your newest book.
Yes.
Yes, forget all that social
I
media.
know. But sometimes you just need to take a break and do some woosahs,
Let's-
right?
Yeah.
Well, and it is all about woosah.
Okay, so 108 stitches.
Words we live by.
Okay.
All about meditation?
It is a book of meditations.
Oh.
And I've been practicing meditation for more than 20 years.
That's why you look so young.
That's what it is.
Thank you, darling. And you know, I think that it's a great balance. When you take the time to go inside and really contemplate who am I, where am I, am I connected to my inner self? You know, am I aligned with my thoughts, words, and deeds? Are they aligned?
Yes.
When they are, then you make smart choices.
That's true.
When they aren't, you can often, you know, fall off course, and that's for everybody, even people who are very conscious of their actions.
Right.
So this is a book.
I'm just
you know,
writing that down.
You know, as
note.
I think you know, Lola, I launched a line of accessories
I do.
about a year and a half ago, which is called 108 Stitches. It's hand crocheted accessories, all based on meditation.
Wow.
And it's 108 because there are 108 beads on a meditation mala, like a rosary. So I treat the creation of this line as a meditation on love.
Wow.
And I realized I'm a writer first.
Yes.
So why not make a book of meditations that will really help people to go inside just for a few minutes and say, here's how I can recenter myself, refocus myself, and then you don't make as many mistakes tweeting out the wrong thing.
Well, how
Good
often do you
point.
think people should put down all the social media and just focus and meditate for a moment? How often?
Well, so meditation is good to do at least once a day.
At least.
You know,
Okay.
If you start your day, you know, prayerfully, really with an intention. This is my intention for the day. It can make such a big difference in your life. You know, morning and evening, really good. But honestly, when I feel myself off kilter, like if you feel angry, if you feel like one of the meditations is when you find yourself pointing your finger at other folks, wrap it around and point it at yourself because
Wow.
chances are you have something to do with it.
Okay.
So
Wow.
during the day, whenever you feel off center, that's the time to go inside.
All
Thank
right.
you very
well, I'll
much.
be doing that during our break.
That's right. Thank
Harriet
you
Cole,
so
it's always so good to see you.
wonderful
And
to
please
see you, too.
come back again soon.
I'd be happy
And I
to.
promise I will stay off the phone when I'm at the checkout counter.
There you
Yes,
go.
and we want to know
Excellent.
what your pet peeves are for the do's and don'ts of social medias. Tell us and tell on yourself. Tweet us at Arise TV 360.